There are things you may be doing right now, not because you are foolish, not because your faith is weak, but simply because no one ever sat you down and warned you. And one of them may be the quiet reason a dream God planted in you has slowly gone cold. You told the wrong person. That's it. That is all it takes. Not a sin, not a curse. Just the wrong ears at the wrong moment. We are going to look at 6 people you should never tell your dreams to. But the last one, number 1, is the person almost every believer hands their dream to without ever sensing the danger. Stay with me, because we will get there. Long ago, Jesus gave a warning that sounds strange until you understand it. He said, "Do not throw your pearls before swine, or they will only trample them under their feet." A pearl does not break because it is weak. It breaks because it lands in the wrong place. Your dream is a pearl, and today I want to show you the 6 kinds of feet that trample it. By the end of this, you will know exactly who you can never tell and why staying silent at the right moment is not fear, it is faith. Here is the one idea I need you to hold on to, because every single person on this list proves it. A dream from God is a seed. It is not a trophy you hold up for applause. It is a seed you plant in the ground. And the people you tell are the soil it lands in. Some soil makes it grow. Some soil buries it alive. And here is the part almost no one understands. The closer a person is to your heart, the more power their soil has over what God placed inside you. That is exactly why the most dangerous one is saved for last. Even Joseph had to learn this. And he learned it the hardest way a young man can. Which brings us to number 6, the envious ones. Picture a boy of 17. His father loves him more than all his brothers, and every one of them can see it. There is even a coat, bright and beautiful, that none of the others were given. Then one night, this boy has a dream, sheaves of wheat standing in a field, and all of them bow down to his. He has another, the sun, the moon, and 11 stars, all bowing low before him. And what does Joseph do with it? He gathers his brothers, the very ones who already resent him, and he tells them every detail. Listen to what Scripture says happened next. It says they hated him all the more because of his dreams. Read that slowly. The dream did not create their hatred. The hatred was already sitting there. Joseph simply handed them the match. Within days, they threw him into a pit and sold him into slavery to a passing caravan. Here is what most people never realize. An envious person does not need a reason to resent you. They only need information. When you tell someone who already measures themselves against you about the good thing God is doing in your life, you are not sharing your joy, you are loading their weapon. So guard the dream. Speak it only to the people who are praying for you to rise, never to the ones quietly keeping score. But the next person does not hate you at all, and that is exactly what makes them more dangerous. Number 5. The faithless realist. This one is going to sound like wisdom. It is not. It is fear, wearing the suit of common sense. You bring your dream to them, full of hope, and they tilt their head and say, "Let's be realistic." On the surface, they sound grounded, mature, wise, even. But underneath, they are not seeing your dream at all. They are seeing their own fear and handing it back to you with your name written on it. God once told an entire nation that a promised land was already theirs. He sent 12 men ahead to scout it. 10 of them came back and said, "We are not able. The people there are too strong." Next to them, "We felt like grasshoppers." Now catch this, because it should stop you cold. They were not lying. The giants were real. The walls were real. They simply saw the giants as bigger than the God who sent them. And because the people listened to those 10 realistic men instead of the 2 who still believed, an entire generation wandered and died in a desert. 40 years. For trusting the wrong report. So do not carry a fragile newborn dream to a lifelong skeptic and ask them to weigh in. They will not weigh your dream. They will weigh their own fear and hand it to you as if it were the truth. Find a Caleb instead, someone whose first instinct is faith, not panic. At least the realist says it to your face. The next person waits until you have left the room. Number 4, the loose tongue. Let me ask you something. Have you ever told one person something private, and somehow, by Sunday, 3 other people already seem to know? That is this one. The loose tongue is not cruel. They may even love you, but they cannot hold a sacred thing in silence. You hand them a dream, and what you believe you are giving them is your trust. What they hear is a story worth repeating. The book of Proverbs says it plainly: a gossip betrays a confidence, but a trustworthy person keeps a secret. Notice, it does not say the gossip means you harm. It says they reveal. It leaks out of them the way water leaks from a cracked cup, whether the cup wants it to or not. And here is what it costs you. A dream spoken too soon, to too many, loses its weight. What was holy becomes hallway talk. What was between you and God becomes conversation over coffee. The dream does not die from an attack. It dies from exposure. So treat your dream like the first 3 months of a pregnancy. You do not announce it to the world the moment you sense it is there. You protect it, quietly, until it is strong enough to survive being spoken aloud. Because a gossip, at least, is honest about being unsafe. The next person? They smile while they do it. But before we go any further, I have to stop you for one moment. If you have already told your dream to someone on this list and you have watched it grow cold in your hands, I want you to do something small. Type 2 words in the comments below. Still believing. Just those 2 words. Because that dream is not gone, and I read every single one of those comments. Now stay with me, because the next 3 people are the ones that cut the closest. Number 3. The two-faced supporter. This is the one that leaves the deepest mark, because you never see it coming. They are not a stranger. They are not an obvious enemy. They are the friend who nods while you talk, who says, "I believe in you," who looks you in the eye and tells you they are rooting for you with everything they have. And then they leave the room. And somewhere else, in a quieter conversation you will never hear, they are the first to plant a small seed of doubt about you. Just a question, just a tone. Did you really think he could pull that off? Always with a soft voice, always with the smile still on their face. There is a line in the Psalms that took the breath out of me the first time I understood it. It says, "Even my close friend, the one I trusted, the one who shared my bread, has turned against me." The one who shared my bread. Not a rival across a battlefield, someone across the dinner table. And centuries later, Jesus would say those very words on the night Judas, one of his own 12, a man who had eaten with him for 3 years, slipped out into the dark to sell him. Here is the warning. The deepest wound a dream can take never comes from the enemy you expected. It comes from the seat right beside you. So learn to watch the fruit, not the face. A real supporter celebrates you even when you are not in the room to hear it. Test them small before you trust them big. Give them a little and watch what they do with it before you ever hand them the whole thing. Now we climb higher. Because the next person does not just sit at your table. They sit above you. Number 2, the threatened authority. This one sounds safe to share with. After all, they are the one in charge, the mentor, the leader, the person with the title, the position, the say-so over your future. Surely they, of all people, are safe to tell. Not if your dream threatens theirs. There was a young man named David, anointed, gifted, rising fast, and there was a king named Saul, who once stood exactly where David was standing and had lost it. One day, the crowds sang a song. Saul has struck down his thousands, and David his tens of thousands. And scripture records the exact moment something broke. It says, "And Saul eyed David from that day forward." From that day forward. One song, one comparison. And the man who was supposed to cover David spent the rest of his life trying to pin him to a wall with a spear. Understand why. Saul did not hate David because David did something wrong. Saul hated David because David was becoming the very thing Saul had been called to be and forfeited. And if you remember Joseph's brothers from a few minutes ago, this is the same poison exactly. The only difference is that now it is wearing a crown. Envy, with no power, throws words. Envy with authority over you can throw your whole future off course. So do not go looking for a blessing from someone whose throne your dream quietly threatens. You will not get a blessing. You will get a spear, dressed up as feedback. Take the dream higher instead, past the one who feels threatened by it, all the way up to the one who gave it to you in the first place. Every person we have named so far has stood outside your heart. The jealous one, the skeptic, the gossip, the false friend, the threatened leader, all of them outside. The last one is already inside. Number 1. The one you trust most. Let me ask you the question this whole video has been building toward. Who is the first person you tell everything to? The person you call before anyone else. The one whose opinion lands harder than the rest of the world combined. Picture their face right now. That is the most dangerous person you could ever tell your dream to. And I need you to hear me carefully, because this is the one almost no one ever admits. There was a man named Samson, the strongest man who ever lived. He tore a lion apart with his bare hands. He walked through entire armies. Ropes could not hold him. Chains could not hold him. Nothing on this earth could bring him down. Nothing. Except one person. The woman he laid his head down beside. Delilah asked him, again and again, for the secret of his strength, the sacred sign of his devotion to God. 3 times he held it back. And then, because she was the one he loved, because she was the one he trusted, Scripture says he finally told her all his heart. She cut his hair while he slept on her knees. His enemies seized him, put out his eyes, and led the strongest man alive away in chains, blind, broken, and betrayed by the one person he had led all the way in. Here it is, the one I promised you at the very start. The reason this is so dangerous is the very reason no one guards against it. You build walls against your enemies. You never build a single wall against the person you love. The gate is already open to them. And so when their fear, or their doubt, or their need to keep you close becomes the loudest voice in the room, louder than God's, you do not even recognize it as an attack, because it came from inside the gate. This does not mean you love them less. It means this: even with the person closest to your heart, some seeds need to stay between you and God alone until they have taken root. Loving someone with all you have does not mean every secret God whispers to you belongs to them the moment you hear it. We have now covered all 6, and you would think that is the end. But there is one person more dangerous than all 6 of them combined, and they are not on this list. You will not find them across the table, or above you, or beside you on the pillow. You will find them in the mirror. It is the version of you that cannot move on what God said until a human being nods and approves it first. Think about it. Why do we tell the wrong people at all? Not because we truly need their advice. We tell them because some part of us has not fully believed what God already promised, and we go searching for a person to confirm it for us. Scripture names this with painful honesty. It says of certain people they loved the praise of men more than the praise of God. That is the root underneath all 6. Pull out the need for human approval, and not one of these 6 people can touch your dream again. So let me set you free before you go. If you are sitting there right now realizing you have already told the wrong person that you handed your pearl to swine, and you watched them trample it, I want you to breathe. Because here is the truth. Joseph told his dream to the worst possible audience. He was thrown in a pit, sold into slavery, forgotten in a prison for years, and the dream still came true, every word of it. Looking back on all of it, he said to the very brothers who betrayed him, "You meant it for evil, but God meant it for good." Your dream is not dead just because you spoke it to the wrong soil. God is not so weak that one wrong conversation can undo his plan. He keeps the seed. And there was one more person who knew exactly what to do with a promise from God. When the news came to Mary that would change the whole world, Scripture says she did not run and tell everyone. It says she treasured up all these things and pondered them in her heart. That is the model. Not silence out of shame, silence out of reverence. Some things you hold in your heart, between you and heaven, until the right time. Remember where we started. Do not throw your pearls before swine. Guard the pearl, not because your dream is fragile, but because it is precious. There is a difference. So here are the 3 things I want you to walk away holding. A dream from God is a seed, not an announcement. Who you plant it with will decide whether you ever live to see it grow. And so before you tell the next person, before the words even leave your mouth, ask yourself one simple question. Not, will they be happy for me? Ask instead, is this soil, or is this swine? Now I want to hear from you. Of these 6 people, which one is already in your life right now? Tell me the number in the comments below. And if it is number 1, you already know. You do not even have to type it. If this gave words to something you have felt for a long time, subscribe and stay with this channel, because next time we are going to talk about what to do once a dream has already been buried. Share this with the one person who needs to hear it before they speak too soon. And until then, guard the pearl.